What is up, Dynasty Degenerates? This is your host, Nick Anderson, with the Down and Dirty Dynasty Fantasy Football Podcast, or as y'all know it, the Triple D FFP. We had a week off, I've had time to sober up from my drafts, and today we are going to be going over, now that we know that the dust is all settled, we know where everybody's landed, we're going to be going over our combination of rookie and vet rankings. So those are going to be our episodes coming up. And today we're covering the wide receivers. So why wait? Let's kick this episode in the nuts and get started. So at number one, it should be no surprise to anybody. We've got Michael Thomas, old MT, coming in. He is 27.2 years old in a New Orleans offense. He's getting the ball thrown to him by Breeze, who's got a new 2-year deal. So that's good for him, knowing that we've got at least 2 years locked up with Drew Brees chucking him the rock. That's a great thing. And even better than that, we've got a little bit of insurance moving forward past the Breeze era because they added Jameis Winston in the offseason. And the addition of Winston, now he's not that flashy name. I know he floated around there in free agency for a little bit, but Winston was able to support a Mike Evans and a Chris Godwin. So you know that he's going to be out there chucking the rock. You know he's going to be getting it downfield. And if you give Michael Thomas the opportunity, he's going to make the catch. Look at his catch rate with Breeze. The guy's an absolute target and catch monster, locked in at number one. No questions asked. So we got to go down to number two. And number two, the top four get a little bit dicey. I know that people argue over it, but these are my rankings. It's my show, so I'm going to put them how I want. And at number two, we've got Nuke Hopkins. Now, the one problem with Nuke is that he's going to a new system, and especially in a COVID era that we're dealing with right now, where people aren't able to get that rapport, get that timing down with a new quarterback in the offseason like they usually would. We've got Nuke going to the Cardinals offense. And now it's going to be a tough transition moving in and trying to find that rapport with a young quarterback and a Kyler Murray. But if there's one thing that we've seen from Nuke in the past is that he is able to adapt to any shitty situation. We've seen him have some of the worst situations when he was in Houston, and he rose to the top. He overcame it. And so I think that this isn't the worst situation. It's just you're going to have to build a little bit of a rapport with him. And so I'm not worried about Hopkins long-term. Might be a rough couple games at the start, but I think they're going to get it locked in real quick. Nuke Hopkins, though, 28 years old, going to a new offense that he's going to be the centerpiece of because they paid that man. And so I am excited about what he's going to be bringing to the table when he goes to that offense. And number three, like I said, there's a little bit of a debate with these ones, but these are my rankings, and this is what I like. And it's not just because I love my Kansas City Chiefs. I've got Tyreek Hill locked in at number three. Tyreek Hill is 26.2 years old in a Pat Mahomes run offense. Can you say that any sweeter? Because it is just as good as it gets. Patrick Mahomes, who will undoubtedly go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, already is in my mind. But he's going to be the one chucking the rock to Tyreek Hill. They've already got the rapport. They've got it down. Tyreek Hill had an offseason last year, but that was an offseason that he missed 4 games due to a fluke injury. Has nothing to do with injury probability. It's just something that can happen to anybody. And so he went down for 4 games on that. Also had 2 games where he was either booted for injury or he was just trying to come back and was still, on shaky legs. And so you take the numbers that he put up last year and you incorporate his normal game production into 6 games, he's easily in the top 10. He's easily in the top 10 of production last year and has been for years before that. And so for those reasons, and because the future outlook with him having a secured Patrick Mahomes moving forward, because the Chiefs are going to pay him, then he's got to be locked in at my number 3. We go down to my number 4. My number 4, Davante Adams. Now, I love Davante Adams. Don't get me wrong. The guy is a great football player. He's a great asset to have on your team. But he is getting the rock thrown to him by an angry Aaron Rodgers. Just pissed off. Y'all saw how they disrespected him in that draft. And so I'm worried with Davante Adams, not about his talent. I think that his talent is undeniable. But what worries me about him is the future. I don't know how much longer Aaron Rodgers is going to be there. I don't know how much longer he's going to take this disrespect, the lack of weapons that they provided him with. I think there's a chance that Danica Patrick might come out of retirement. Aaron Rodgers quits football, becomes a racing husband. He starts handing out cut-up orange slices and Sunny Capris to the race crew and just goes off into the fucking wilderness with his goddamn dog, and all those commercials with him and Clay Matthews. That dog, that truck out at the raceway with Danica Patrick instead of in the fucking field with Davante Adams. So, I just don't see a future where those two are linking up for that much longer. And it worries me. We've already seen a dip in Rodgers' production. So it's something that I don't think that we can absolutely count on and say that's going to be there for years to come. And that's why he falls down to that number 4 spot. Then we go on to our number 5 spot. We've got Chris Godwin at 24.2 years old. And like I said with Hopkins, there's going to be a little bit of a transitionary period because Brady's coming into a new Tampa offense in Tampa Bay. And so we're not sure like how things are going to pan out. Is Brady going to link up with Godwin? Is he going to link up with Evans? Is he going to just go back to his old tried and true Gronkowski? We're not sure how things are going to play out. There is one thing that I know, though. Mike Evans is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and Chris Godwin was able to overthrow him in that offense, which says great things to me. Godwin is a stellar talent at a young age at 24.2. And if there's one thing that I know is that Brady knows how to build a team. He knows how to build teamwork, and he also breaks the fucking rules. And so where we're supposed to be on quarantine, when we're not supposed to be practicing all that stuff, I can guarantee you that when Tom Brady's not breaking into other folks' houses, he's out on the practice field with Godwin and Evans trying to get that timing down. And once game 1 comes out, they're going to be linked up. I'm not worried about it. So let's go on to our number 6 ranking. We got DJ Moore. All right. And I don't know how I feel about this one. Okay. DJ Moore at number 6. I feel like that's the appropriate valuation of him there. But man, between like 6 and 10, I feel like he could fluctuate anywhere. The one good thing that he does have going, not the one good thing, but one good thing that he does have going for him is that he's 23.1 years old, okay? 23 is a very young wide receiver, especially for the stuff that he's already put out there on the field. So I'm really excited about this guy's future. It's just I've never owned a share of him, so I've never got that passion. I've never felt that heat, that love. He's never been one of my guys. So this number 6 valuation of him makes me feel a little bit uneasy, but I think it's the right spot. He's got a new Teddy Bridgewater coming into town. So like I said, there's going to be an adjustment period. This shit couldn't came at a worse time with all this flux in the NFL. You know, you'd love to see them get the chance to build a rapport, but we're not going to have that opportunity, unfortunately. But, you know, Bridgewater was able to float Michael Thomas in a non-Breeze era over in New Orleans. And so I'm hoping that he can do the exact same thing to DJ Moore, who is going to be a target and catch monster when sorry, got a text. But it's going to be an absolute catch and target monster out there. And so he's locked in at my number 6. Now we go down to my number 7 spot, and this is my boy. This is a guy that I've had shares of. This is a guy that I've fallen in love with. And it's Kenny G, man, Kenny Golladay. At 26.5 years old, he gets Matt Stafford back, and I think that that is going to help his numbers in ways that we can't even imagine. Matt Stafford, I feel like, is going to come back for blood. He had a year off, you know, bad year, all that stuff. I think that he's going to come back and he's going to be slinging the rock, and Kenny G is going to be his number 1 tried and true favorite target. You know, I mean, he was already the number 6.5 point PPR last year, and I think those numbers can even increase. It can increase from that when he's got this gunslinger back behind the center. So Kenny G locked in my number 7 spot. Love the guy. He's a great asset to have. Unfortunately, he is a little bit older, kind of hit that apex a little bit. You know, he just came into the NFL a little bit older. So he hasn't had the years to be able to win our trust over, but I think that he's going to lock it in there at number 7. And number 8, like I was talking about earlier, the fucking monster Mike Evans. Mike Evans is 26.7 years old, which how crazy is that? To think that Mike Evans is 2 months older than Kenny G. The career that he's had, he's only 2 months older than Kenny G. It's absolutely absurd. But we've got that same problem that I was talking about with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. He's coming into an offense that he doesn't know who's going to be the primary beneficiary of, you know, all of Brady's targets. But the good thing about Godwin is that you can throw the 50-50 balls up to him, and an experienced quarterback will have the balls, you know, the experience to do something like that. So throwing him into that offense, throwing him into a Tom Brady offense is absolutely perfect because Brady's going to have the vet knowledge to do that shit. So Mike Evans at 26.7 years old, locked in as a jump ball machine at number 8. Then we go down to my number 9, and I don't like this one. Listen, I don't think Amari is going to be around in Dallas past 2021. I don't think he's going to be around past 2020. I think they're going to trade him. But at number 9, you got to stop letting somebody fall at some point, and Amari Cooper comes into our number 9 spot at 25.9 years old in a Cowboys run offense. Now, none of the things that I'm worried about are the Cowboys system itself. I'm not worried about Dak. I'm not worried about his ability to get the ball out to the wide receivers. But we saw in the draft the Cowboys acquired CeeDee Lamb. They acquired CeeDee Lamb and donned him with the number 88 jersey. That means that they want him to be the man in Jerry World. And that tells me that Amari Cooper is going to be the one who's going to be suffering from this. I know everybody thinks that that Michael Gallup is going to be the one that's going to be suffering. I think that Amari is going to have an okay 2020, and then he's going to get traded somewhere at the end of the season because he's got no guaranteed money after 2021. So, I mean, he's still young. He's still an amazing talent. You know, he's got all these things going for him. He's phenomenal, except when he's not being streaky and when he's catching the ball. But I just don't think that he's long for the Cowboys. And so that worries me about his future because, I mean, we're talking about multiple teams that he's bounced around to at this point. We've seen how streaky he can be, and it just worries me. But I think that 9 is a good valuation for him, and that's where we're putting him in at. And number 10, we've got Allen Robinson, man. 26.7 years old. He's another one of those guys that you feel like is much older than his age actually shows, just because he's been around for so long. And the one thing that we can always count on with Allen Robinson is that he has the ability to overcome piss-poor quarterback play. We've seen Allen Robinson put up numbers with Blake Bortles. We've seen him put up numbers with Mitch Trubisky. And I honestly think that with Nick Foles, when he takes over the spot in Chicago, I think that Nick Foles is going to be the best quarterback that he's played with in his career so far. So I'm expecting great things from Allen Robinson coming in there. You know, I'm hoping that Foles is going to be the thing that helps him out. And if it doesn't, if he just has to overcome shitty quarterback play, we've already seen him do it, man. The guy is an absolute monster. He's a great wide receiver, great value at number 10. Down at number 11, we've got Juju Smith-Schuster. And now Juju is another one of those that we're talking about that seems like he's played forever, but he's super young. Juju is 23.5 years old, guys. 23.5. He's played 3 seasons in the NFL. That's absolutely absurd how young he came into the league as. And he's had a great career so far. But last year spooked me a little bit with Big Ben gone, and I know that he played with piss poor quarterback play. But like I was talking about with Hopkins, we've seen him overcome poor quarterback play. Juju wasn't able to do that last year. Now, I know he's plagued by injuries for some of the year. I know that you know, it's not an exact correlation between him and Nuke and, you know, bad quarterback play and all that stuff. But it just scares me a little bit because I'm not sure how long Big Ben's going to be around for. Shit, he was talking about retirement 2 years ago. And so it freaks me out to think about the future of Juju in a Steelers offense that doesn't have Big Ben as the quarterback and no future in sight, no change of the guard in sight. We don't have a backup quarterback that we can rely on, you know? So it worries me about Juju, but still at 23.5 years old, he's an absolutely exceptional talent, you know, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. I just don't know if it's always going to be with the Steelers. I don't know what the quarterback's going to be. So, but at some point, you got to stop letting somebody fall, and we lock him in at number 11. At number 12, we've got the young buck on the scene, A.J. Brown. He's the youngest in our rankings at 22.9 years old, and he's in a Tannehill, Tennessee offense, you know. So, excuse me. He was number 15 and a half point rankings last year in his rookie season, which is just absolutely stellar for a rookie outing. You don't see that happen very often with these guys. And so he comes in at number 15 and a half point. I think that he's going to build a stronger rapport with Tannehill moving forward. I think that as we see them go into the 2020 season, that connection is just going to keep increasing, keep getting better. And it's also, I mean, you can't always respect the passing lanes when you have somebody that's just absolutely blasting the fuck out of the middle like Derrick Henry. And so it opens up that outside for him. So, I mean, those are great signs for A.J. Brown. He's just beefy. He's just thick. He looks good out there. I love A.J. Brown. Locking him in as my number 12. That's where he belongs. At number 13, we go down to Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen at 28.1 years old. He's got Tyrod Taylor throwing him the ball now. I don't know how I feel about that. I know that Rivers had a noodle arm towards the end of his time in the Chargers. I know that he wasn't playing like he should. He wasn't playing like old Rivers. But I don't know if Tyrod's the solution. My hope is that Herbert gets to sit long enough behind Tyrod that he can get his feet beneath him, and then he can just come out and with that cannon that he's got, just start slinging the rock to Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. And if that can happen, Allen's got, the sky's the limit for him. He's old, reliable. The guy has always been producing for you, and that's why you're going to keep having him produce at this number 13 spot. Now we go down to number 14. I don't like this one. I don't like this guy. I don't like this player. I don't like the system that he's in. I don't like anything. I don't like Baker Mayfield. But OBJ at number 14. I'm going with conventional wisdom on this. I'm going with everybody else's rankings. I'm going with everybody else's opinion on the guy. I don't like him here, but like I said, you can only let somebody fall so far. So I think 14 is a good spot for him. I think it's an appropriate landing spot for him. At 27.5 years old, OBJ comes in as our number 14 dynasty wide receiver. Hopefully Baker has the juice. Hopefully OBJ can find his way in that offense, but they just keep changing things, man. Now they acquired Austin Hooper, who got paid. So they're going to have to start targeting him too. But you still got the ghost of David Njoku out there. You still got Jarvis Landry out there. You still got Nick Chubb. You got Kareem Hunt coming out of the backfield. And all these guys are demanding that Baker Mayfield gets in the ball. And I just don't know if he's got the juice for it. Hopefully he does. OBJ is a great talent. We've seen him produce when he was in New York. We saw what he was capable of. But then we've also seen these fall-offs. He drops the ball. He's got a bad case of the drops. And then you just see him just disappear in games. And it's something that I don't like. But he's still 27.5 years old. We've seen just amazing runs from him. And so he's locked in at our number 14. And we go down to our number 15, and we've got the tried and true at 31.3 years old, but still good as ever, Julio Jones. All right, Julio Jones is still out there with Matt Ryan. They didn't add anything crazy to their passing attack. So, you're going to see Calvin Ridley do his thing. You got Russell Gage on the come up, and then you've got Julio Jones just as good as ever sitting there at the number 15 spot. He's just fucking phenomenal. 31 years old, and he's still a threat to be a top 5 wide receiver this year in 2020 end of year finals, And so Julio he's there, man. Tried and true, old reliable. Can't do any better than him. I wish I could have drafted him 10 fucking years ago so I could have rode that all the way to now. But didn't get to. But so he's at our number 15 spot. That's our number 1 through number 15. I'll go over it one more time for you guys. At the first spot, we got Michael Thomas. Number 2, we've got DeAndre Hopkins. Number 3, we've got Tyreek Hill. Number 4 is Devontae Adams. 5, Chris Godwin. 6, DJ Moore. 7, Kenny Golladay. 8, Mike Evans. 9, Amari Cooper. 10, Allen Robinson. 11, Juju Smith-Schuster. 12 is A.J. Brown. 13, Keenan Allen. 14, Odell Beckham Jr., and 15, Julio Jones. Damn, is that a good list. I'm just excited for football to be back, guys. I'm excited to see how this list compares with how these guys pan out in the 2020 season. I'm ready for some sports. I'm ready for quarantine to be over. I'm ready to sit down with the boys, crack a few beers, watch the games. I'm ready for all of it. I know you guys are too. But until then, I'll keep you guys satiated with the information coming out. I'll be putting out episodes on my running back rankings, my tight end rankings, and my quarterback rankings. So keep an eye out, keep an ear to the ground. If you like my rankings, that's awesome. If you don't, fuck it. I'm not drunk yet, but I will be.